Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on July 13th, 2015. And this being the final show before the Battleground pay-per-view, at least Monday Night Raw wise. They pretty much just went ahead and finished off what they were going for in most of their storylines. And they did it. They did them in a relatively good way, and it's kind of similar ways to where they've been going recently as well. You had continuation of the Primetime Players in the New Day. You had the six-man tag with Primetime Players and Mark Henry, and the going up against the New Day. Nothing really special building into the storyline wise. I actually would have liked to see them throw a little bit of a curveball in there and make it feel more importance to, or not more importance, but give more emphasis behind the New Day, and I would have actually gone for them getting the win in this case, make it seem like a lot more of a viable threat going into the pay-per-view match. I don't know why they decided to continue on with it, but they're continuing on with King Barrett and R-Truth at this point. They had another match, R-Truth pulling out this one now, and now apparently they're on the kickoff show battling for the crown. I wish they would have ended it last week, but I guess they decided to get two more matches out of it, so that's what they went with there. The continuation of the triple threat match with Miz, Ryback, and Big Show had their continuation there, along with the continuation of Randy Orton and Sheamus's matches going in there. They kind of intertwined both of them in that tag team match with Sheamus and Big Show against R-Truth, but Ryback and Randy Orton. A lot of R's in that little area there, and a little bit of a mess up too for you. Relatively decent match. Them pretty much having the Miz play up as this whole distraction between Ryback and Big Show, and this is actually being filmed after this portion happened. So that portion of the storyline build was good, but unfortunately with what happened with Ryback, he's not going to be on the show, so you don't really have the triple threat match anymore. So it kind of becomes a moot point, and hopefully Ryback is going to be good to go here in a couple weeks or something like that. Sorry, it's sad to see that he's going to be out with the staph infection, but at least it was caught. So good that he's going to be healthy in the end, but kind of sad because they kind of built into the storyline. Now it's not going to happen for the pay-per-view. So we'll see where they decide to go with that for the pay-per-view purposes later on. You also had the whole State of the Divas address, which was actually a really good segment of the show. At least I thought it was. I thought this was a really good segment. And it was a good way of them introducing the whole Divas Revolution storyline they're going with bringing in the NXT Divas, like with Becky Lynch and Charlotte joining up with Paige, and Sasha Banks joining up with Naomi and Tamina. It would have been, I think it would have been better off if they would have had just the three NXT Divas being together going up against them, and then you have the other team as well with like maybe Paige and somebody else. But I know they're trying to keep Paige in there, and they wanted to have an area where she can actually have allies, because they played off that she's alienated all the other divas. Now the two of the NXT divas are joining in with her to go up against the Bellas. I thought the segment was really good. I liked how they basically made it really important that these three were coming up, and they used Stephanie McMahon in there really well, basically trying to show that she's still the dominant force of everything by bringing in this competition, or as they kind of put it, because they had Nikki Bella come out there saying there was no competition, and then it's like, oh, now there is this competition coming after you at this point. So relatively good segment there for the Divas. I thought they came off at really well. I like the ending portion where Charlotte Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks had all three of them in all, like the Bellas and Alicia Fox, inside of their own submission holds and them tapping out. I thought that was a really good spot at the end. They did a really good job with this segment. The segments with John Cena and then eventually Rusev, having Rusev and Cesaro and Kevin Owens coming out there to try to, accept the open challenge for the United States title, I thought was actually relatively, it came off relatively good, mainly because the triple threat match was fun to watch, and they also played off the whole Kevin Owens just leaving and waiting for Sunday area in there. But the whole aspect that is like, okay, you had Cena's feud from the beginning of the year in WrestleMania, and you had Cena's current feud with Kevin Owens, and then the one guy who's also had really good matches with him recently inside of this triple threat. I thought that came off really well in there. I did like the aspect of Rusev coming out on top there. You've seen Cesaro for the last couple weeks. It was time for somebody else to kind of get in there. And then, of course, having Kevin Owens just ruin it in the end, kind of added more. It didn't really add much to the Kevin Owens-John Cena storyline, but it kind of added a little finishing touch to it in there, because he's kind of been ruining the U.S. Open challenges over the last couple of weeks, with the exception of the week before. Relatively good match there with the triple threat, and just relatively good segments overall. With everybody there, with Cena, with Rusev, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens. This brings me into the final portions here, which was the Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar segments throughout the show. I liked the beginning. Again, great promo by Paul Heyman. Nothing less than what you would expect from Paul Heyman here. He talks up and builds up everything going into the pay-per-view. Them setting up the whole contract signing. And then you had the segments backstage with Kane and Seth Rollins, like, oh, Kane has a plan, everything like that. And then, of course, to have the contract signing come about, and, of course, Kane's plan backfires, and the final piece of the puzzle was taken out with Kane getting the ankle injury through Brock Lesnar beating him up and then smashing the steps and sandwiching them between the other steps in there as well. So they were trying to do the whole area of riding off everyone, and then I liked the aspect of Seth Rollins kind of going ballistic afterwards, not just on the fact that he was going to try to still take out Brock Lesnar on his own, but also kind of going ballistic on Kane a little bit there. He kind of did a full 360 back to where he was, at least with Kane, from the end of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view to where they are going into Battleground as well. I thought those segments came off relatively well. And so overall, of course, a couple ups and downs throughout the entire show, but for the most part, decent show. Nothing, I would say nothing too crazy in the end, setting up into the Battleground pay-per-view itself, but at least a relatively decent show going into it for this week's Monday Night Raw. So that is my review for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.